Jonathan, thank you very much for that very kind introduction. I'm not sure that I can follow that. Can I go now? It all seems too good to be true. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Alistair Sutherland from the City of London Police. I'm going to talk in very practical terms this morning. How the City of London Police have changed significantly in their approach to counter-terrorism policing over the last 30 to 40 years, which may be a challenge in the 15-minute slot that I have, but nonetheless I'll give it a go, and I'm also including a short video. But I want to open the morning with a famous quote from Sir Charles Darwin back from 1809, which I think is very relevant to counter-terrorism policing, which is that it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. And I think that thinking resonates amongst all of us in counter-terrorism policing and law enforcement. So this is the City of London evolving to meet the new CT threats. And just to give you some context around the City of London, the City of London remains, as you will be aware, one of the world's foremost and leading financial centres. We have a long history, a massively significant cultural, historical and economic significance. And we have been at the forefront of counter-terrorism policing and innovation for the last 30 to 40 years. This is the heart of London, 1.2 square miles. We have only 11,000 residents, 16,000 businesses, but every day we import over 400,000 people to come and work in the square mile. And our annual contribution to the UK economy is £45 billion and growing. During the working week, the City of London is the most densely populated area of the United Kingdom, and of course is 3 times more densely populated by our nearest neighbours, which is Westminster. Okay, moving on with the IT. The city continues to grow. 8.9 million annual visitors from tourism. Iconic sites and crowded places grow, and we continue to be a financial hub. Some of the sites that you may recognise within the city: St Paul's Cathedral, the London Stock Exchange, the Bank of England, the Old Bailey, the Guildhall, the Mansion House. All of them contained within the square mile. Now you'll see why over the last 40 years that we have become a very attractive target for terrorism. And our terrorist history between 1973 and 1993 is dominated by attacks from Irish Republican terrorism. 19 significant attacks, and many attacks foiled, many plots averted. Methodology: drop and go attacks, timers, postal attacks, grenades, petrol devices, incendiary devices. So over that period of time, we were at the forefront in the UK of the threat from Irish terrorism. But there were 2 significant attacks that made us change the way that we approached CT policing. The first was, of course, in 1992. This was the Baltic Exchange bomb, a vehicle bomb, the largest terrorist bomb ever to be detonated in the UK, devastating a huge area, killing 3 people and over 100 seriously injured. That was followed shortly after by the Bishopsgate bomb, an even bigger device that was planted in the city, and like the Baltic Exchange bomb, was very much targeted at the economic and financial centre. So the intention was not to cause mass casualties, but to undermine confidence in the UK economy by targeting investment and trading centres. And as one of a series of measures following this bomb, the City of London Police set up what became known as rolling random roadblocks, and the first force to have overtly armed policing manning random road checks in the UK. So this was massively significant. This changed the culture of policing in the UK. And for the first time ever in the United Kingdom, we saw armed police officers manning road checks entering the city. Now, as a whole, this made us rethink our approach to counter-terrorism. We realised in the UK that continued attacks on the UK economy would have significant impact, not only on our ability to trade worldwide, but also on our reputation as a sort of world capital. And therefore, in 1993, we began to introduce, and you may have heard of this, the Ring of Steel. This was a massive change in London. This was the blocking of 30 entry points to the City of London, 30 streets completely blocked, leaving only 8 entry points to the city. The first time in the UK that we introduced automatic number plate reading and CCTV within the city, dedicated manned checkpoints 24 hours a day into the City of London. Of course, between 1993 and 2005, we were successful. No more attacks. This was a significant achievement for the City of London. Unfortunately, so secure was the City of London at this time that the IRA and associated groups went elsewhere in the UK and began attacking cities elsewhere in the United Kingdom. But within the city, we felt very secure. July 2005 and 7/7, of course, saw a very new threat. For the first time, we saw international terrorism, AQ-inspired attacks, where those terrorists sought martyrdom and mass casualty. And on the screen here is just some of the resulting chaos and carnage caused by the 7/7 bombers on the London transport system and the underground system. And within the City of London, the Aldgate bomb had devastating consequences for many, many people, with many fatalities. We then moved on to the 21st of July, so a short time later, 5 more attacks, same methodology, same aim of martyrdom, AQ-inspired terrorism, and fortunately on this occasion, the only reason that we didn't have the mass casualties, you'll be aware, is because of the faulty devices that were carried. But again, this was a new era for us and something the UK had never faced before. June 2007, we saw attacks, a combination of attacks, and this is probably the last series of coordinated terrorist attacks in the UK, where we saw the attempted bombing of nightclubs in London, the Tiger bombing, the targeting of first responders, so the targeting of police and security personnel as first responders. The device that you see there in the Mercedes was outside the nightclub, and parked nearby was another vehicle that was aimed to target and kill police and security personnel responding. We also saw the attack at Glasgow Airport, where again a vehicle bomb, but combined with an aim of martyrdom. So a new world for us in London. Okay. We then began to move into what we would call low-level, uncoordinated and unsophisticated attacks. And what you see here, of course, in May 2010, is an attack on one of our members of Parliament, Stephen Timms, who was attacked in his constituency office by a female terrorist with a knife. You'll have seen the attack on Fusilier and the murder of Fusilier Lee Rigby in May 2013. And of course, more recently, in December 2015, another low-level, unsophisticated attack on members of the public on the London transport system. All of these attacks are ISIL-inspired, self-radicalised individuals sitting at home. This meant that across the UK, and in London in particular, where the focus for these attacks was, we had to change our thinking. We had made a huge investment in technology and infrastructure, but of course technology, infrastructure, cameras, automatic number plate reading, clearly not going to defeat this type of terrorism. And this is where we see some evolution from an investment in technology and infrastructure to a huge investment in people. So we now move to the government's contest strategy and our adoption of the 4 Ps. And some of you will have heard this, but under the government's contest strategy, prevent, pursue, protect and prepare are the 4 strands on which we base our protective security measures. Preventing and intervening with those individuals who are vulnerable to radicalisation and targeting those who facilitate and support terrorism under prevent. Pursuing the terrorist threat at home and overseas to disrupt and arrest terrorists. Protecting the UK and London, reducing the vulnerability of the UK and its interests abroad, and preparing to respond effectively to the consequences of a terrorist attack. A huge part of the City of London, as you'll have seen, is the business community, and we were very clear that we needed to tailor our particular approach to the 4 Ps to a business community. So a massive increase in business engagement, recognising that certainly within the London community, the business community and the security industry had a lot to offer to us in working together to combat terrorism. Our increased liaison with the security services and security services briefing to businesses have brought huge reward in terms of security. And one of our sort of key elements of our counter-terrorism strategy is Project Griffin, which began in the City of London initially in around 2004, following discussions between the City of London Police and the business community, and has now evolved continually to become a very, very solid and renowned security partnership where we, the City of London Police, work with our business communities around a whole range of threats, utilising their staff to assist us in responding to security matters, but also dealing with everything from exercising and testing through to dealing with the insider threat. This has now become an international brand, and of course is rolled out now worldwide, and I'm sure there'll be people sitting in the room who are aware of this and actually work within Project Griffin throughout the world. Our evolution of tactics continues. We will be the first police force in the whole of the UK to introduce an anti-terrorism traffic regulation order. This is hugely impactful. It can't be underestimated. The impact of getting this through in London is huge. We will be able to, later in this year, hopefully, through physical measures, close down the whole of the City of London in response to intelligence around a potentially pending intelligence-led terrorist attack, but also once we have a terrorist attack occurred. This means by physical barriers, we will be able to shut down the roads, the traffic, and the pedestrians into the City of London. This is a first for the UK, and we think is something that we need as a contingency, hopefully never to be enacted. Our biggest investment, however, remains with people, and I mentioned our investment in people. So in terms of UK policing, in London in particular, our uplift in skills of specialists, so our firearms officers, our intelligence analysts, but particularly, and I'll come to Project Servator, our investment in training around behavioural detection. And there will be various iterations of behavioural detection science around the world, but actually we've decided within the City of London that this is key for us to invest in behavioural detection courses for our staff to identify the potential signs of criminality and terrorism and detect and deter those coming in. And this is a huge and significant change for us. Technology, I mentioned the Ring of Steel. We have now upgraded and are in the process of a multi-million-pound upgrade to the Ring of Steel, bringing in a wider footprint, upgrading our cameras, and of course adopting the most up-to-date technology available, including facial recognition technology. We've been worldwide scoping various capitals around the world to see what we can bring back, and we've invested in a huge upgrade around the Ring of Steel, which we believe, working alongside a significant investment in our behavioural detection science, will reap rewards. And if I could just touch on Project Servator for a moment. Project Servator was first piloted. Let me see if I can go back. So, Project Servator was first piloted in the City of London in 2012. And it says there, the appliance of science to influence and detect criminal and terrorist behaviour in our public places. Now, Project Servator for us sits at the forefront of our efforts to combat terrorism in the city. It is a massive investment in our workforce. Our aim is to train all of our workforce in these methods. I'll come to very shortly in the presentation some of the results that we've had. But this is a real first for the UK. This is the unpredictable, highly visible deployment of police officers involving a wide range of assets, including specially trained officers, but supported and amplified by community engagement to provide that reassurance to our business communities, to provide reassurance to the media and public relations, to help disrupt predominantly hostile reconnaissance and wider criminality. And if you'll just indulge me, I have a very short video that we use to introduce Servator.
a completely new approach to keeping the City of London safe from both terrorism activity and also the wider crime issues. So we will be deploying officers in different locations at different times, different methodologies, so that people that actually are intent on causing the city harm don't know where the operation is happening. It causes a disorientating to either commit crime or to conduct hostile reconnaissance. It's done in such a way that it's unpredictable, and there'll be officers there to explain what the whole purpose is, so people feel reassured that actually this is about us keeping the city safe. People won't see is some of our other assets. We'll be fully utilising the ring of steel within the city, our CCTV capability, our automatic number plate recognition capability, and other technologies that actually we do deploy on a daily basis. It'll be very visible to the people that, you know, that we're running an operation, but there is stuff behind the scenes that people won't see. It's been proven to work in that the community support us in doing this because we're explaining to the communities what we're doing, and actually it's been proven very beneficial in not only reducing crime but reducing the threat of terrorism attack upon the city.
Yeah, that's also really got allowed to sign up to your program.
I think for community leaders within the City of London, we feel it's really important for us to engage. We want to be a part of this. We want to assist as much as we can.
We've got full understanding of the new tactics and the deployments that are going to be happening very soon, and we fully support them. I think it's so important that not only are the police engaging with our security teams and all the back of house guys, but actually working with the public and the shop workers and getting everyone involved.
This new policing strategy that's taking place, we've just learnt about, is an excellent thing. I think it will instill a lot more confidence in people to see the police out on the road, and there's nothing to be frightened about whatsoever.
Okay, if that's done nothing else other than wake you up, I hope it gives you an insight into some of the work that we're doing and some of the new tactics that we're deploying. So that's business as usual for us. That's 24/7 in the City of London, and that is life for us at the moment in terms of how we're combating those new diverse threats. So I think just to sort of close with some of the key benefits of the new approach, I've put that stark statistic up on the screen in front of you, just to say that in deploying Operation Servator and our behavioural detection techniques, our teams, our covert assets, our hit rate for stopping individuals either involved in crime and terrorism is currently at 68%. So for every 100 stops that we conduct in the City of London under Project Servator, 68 are coming up with a result. Predominantly crime, so of course this is a huge benefit for us in terms of reducing crime, but 68 of 100 people who are coming in and stopped under Operation Servator results in a crime arrest or a counter-terrorism referral of some description. The national average, I should say, in the UK is less than 20%. So in the rest of the UK, this is less than 20%, but of course here we pride ourselves on these figures. And I think just a key bit in terms of our CT focus, so the 203 arrests in 2015, but 48 sets of false identity documents, many referrals into the Counter-Terrorism Command relating to those documents, so significant investment and significant benefit. And I should just close by saying that, you know, we've run the pilot, it's been rolled out, it's been extremely successful, and of course the validation for us is now that the UK UK Counter-Terrorism Policing Command and our Home Office colleagues have now adopted and agreed to roll out Project Servator on a national basis. So something that we're very proud of in the city and something that we feel is most useful. And ladies and gents, I've run well over time, so questions for another time. Thank you very much.